Okay. A photographer is never late. A photographer arrives precisely when he means to. Camera lady just said absolute lies. Okay, so I might be a little late. I'm sure that's never happened to me before, and if you're new to this channel, just don't watch any of my old videos and pretend that that's never happened before if you have watched my videos. What are we doing? We're out here for a full moon. So we have good timing. We have good mountains. I just missed the best of the light. We're gonna try to make it work. Except I can't, why can't I turn my thing? Wow, that is really on there. We're also on the side of a road, so you might hear loudness. All right, tripod issues, check. I really wanted last light. Okay, this is what we're looking at. I'm gonna jump straight into it. This is what we're looking at. So this is our field of view. This is what we're looking at. The moon is gonna be right there, over that peak. We've got the yucca down there, which may or may not work. I want a landscape. This, you know, this wouldn't have been such a problem if I just wanted to get up close and personal with the moon with my 500 or my 800 or something, but I don't want that. I want the landscape. I really like the shape of these mountains here, and I really like the yucca in the foreground. And that's just, I'm gonna have to bring that up though. I'm gonna have to, that yucca is gonna have to be like right on the, I think like that is gonna be good. And I'm at 135, 140-ish. So the reason why we like doing landscape moonrise photos is because there's always that one day a month. It's either full moon, or a lot of times it's like the day before full moon when you get the nice glow. So we're gonna have the belt of Venus, the pink part, the earth shadow over here to the east. And then we've got a nice landscape, so we don't want to go in super tight. I may end up doing a little bit of a pano, but I'll walk you guys through that in a second. So let me finish getting set up, and let me let camera lady put the camera on a tripod, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so here comes the car right as I want to talk. The moon really jumped up fast. I was gonna set up another camera and do a video, but that's all right. So I'm gonna walk you guys through what I'm doing here. So here's my scene, and that's a little wide. Actually, that's the way I want it though. Okay, so we've got the cactus down there. We're not putting the cactus right on the edge. I'm letting it breathe. We've got the moon coming up. Now we're a little dark. So the problem is the moon is going to get real bright real quick, but right now is the time where we have the most opportunity to get a single exposure. Because what I'd like to do, oh, there's a bird right there in my shot. That was kind of cool. What I'd like to do is not have an HDR, like if I don't have to focus blend, I would prefer that. So I'm at f8 right now, 1/160th of a second, 800 ISO. And now I'm gonna rotate it, get some verticals a little tighter. I am gonna, just for safety purposes, I'm gonna get a foreground shot. F8, I just upped my shutter speed until it got exposed for the ground. I'm having to go 2 stops underexposed now to get the moon because it's brightening up that fast. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go handheld. So RP, I think that's what this is. Yeah, it's my RP. So that was my R5. RP 70 to 200 at 70. So I want it wider. I want that whole, oh, that's very nice. You know what? You know what I just realized? I was in crop mode, so I'm a genius. This is what happens when you bird and you do bird photography and you, yeah, anyways. Take it out of crop mode. I was wondering why 100 looks so tight and then 70 looks so wide. All right, so now I'm gonna take a couple shots. At least I was in crop mode on the R5, so I still have a decent amount of megapixels to play with. So now I'm 3 stops underexposed to get that moon just right. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna focus on the moon. Here's another tip. When you're shooting moon stuff like this and it's really close to the horizon, even if you think you're on infinity or if you think you're on the horizon, the moon still may be a little soft because it's actually, even though it looks like it's on the horizon, it's farther. All right, so now we're just gonna have to bracket. So I'm at f8 1/30th of a second, ISO 800. I'm gonna take this shot. Now I'm just gonna experiment a little bit and we're zooming in. So this is what we're looking at right now. I'm at like 450 millimeters, right over that peak. So that's what we're looking at, about 450 millimeters. All right, well, I only had about 10 minutes total to get the shot. I think even less than that. And I got a few horizontal, vertical, like I showed you. So one thing to keep in mind when you're doing this, like I said, you get 1 or 2 days of, usually 1 day of like the moon rising in that perfect time where this is too dark right now and the moon is now too bright. So you get that perfect balance of the moon can be properly exposed and the ground can be properly exposed in a single shot. The problem that you'll have though, if you're like me and you live where there's mountains or you're in a cityscape, or if you're shooting up at all, and I'm shooting slightly up, if you're shooting up at all and then to my horizon there's a lot of mountains there, that will shorten the amount of time that you have for that perfect light. So you have to keep that in mind. And I didn't get to the spot that I wanted to get to today, and we found this spot last minute. So that's what we were suffering from, is shooting up and then having that more narrow time frame to work with. So I'm gonna wrap it up right here and head back to the studio, and then I'll show you guys hopefully a little bit of the editing process, and we'll go from there because it is getting dark and cold and it is tea time. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, back in the studio. It's the next morning. I went home and went straight to bed pretty much. So I haven't even looked at the images yet, but that's why I wanted to do a fresh edit with you guys of at least maybe the first image or so. So let's go ahead and jump in here. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of take a look at what we have and what I got. I'm thinking one of these, the moon is already really bright. Let's just see if we can recover that highlight. I don't want to do a global highlight adjustment, so I'm just going to paint that in there, just like that. And I think that worked. Okay, so we do know that this first couple of images, I'm just going to hit done. I'll keep that edit. We know that the moon highlight is recoverable on these first two. So let's look at the composition. I think this one is doable too. So this is where you can see I started bracketing just in case. But I think, let's do this one. I'm going to start off the same way and just paint in. So I don't want to bring the highlights down too much, because to me, I think that just makes it a little unnatural. So I'm going to leave it kind of overexposed, and then that'll give me more latitude to work on this area. I'm just going to look at a couple of my presets here, see if I like anything. I think I like this one as a good start. Alright, so now I'm just gonna do another brush here, or maybe a linear gradient. Now I'm going to make these highlights pop in the foreground. I probably should have just done a mask, a brush, because now I got to fix this area too. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that for camera raw, so let's get into Photoshop. First thing I always do is figure out my crop. Since I shot this vertical, I'm probably going to want a 4x5. That's a little tight, but you gotta do what you gotta do for Instagram, right? I think for a print, I would make this a 5x7, and that looks a lot better. That gives it more room to breathe. So actually, all right, this is what I'm going to do since I'm going to do that. Let's cancel the crop. So first, let's just go ahead and make a background copy. Now I'm going to go up in here to Luminar and mess with it a little bit. So all of this stuff that I'm doing in Luminar, you know, this isn't sponsored or anything, it's just what I use. You can do all of this stuff in Photoshop without buying extra plugins and stuff. This is just what I have and what I like to use, so I'm not really going to go over, you know, what I'm doing in here too much, other than, you know, you can see. This is just sort of a really easy, really basic way to do luminosity stuff. So, and the kind of the Orton effect, that's so popular. I just do it just a little bit, so obviously that looks overkill, but this makes a really simple luminosity mask. And I like it for the foreground, but obviously that ruins the moon, so I'm just going to come in here and fix that. Alright, that's a little better. Alright, so there you can see a little before and after from Luminar. The moon is looking a little hot and a little yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Alright, the only other thing that I want to do is I'm just going to make a dodge and burn layer real quick, because I just want to bring out the highlights in this yucca just a little bit. I don't know why. And that's subtle, but it helps a little bit. And then maybe I'll just dodge a little bit of these highlights in here. Alright, that's super subtle, but that's really all I want to do to this. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crop my print version. And then I'll save it as a print, large, full res, 5x7. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and crop for Instagram. See, that's just a little tight for the moon and the spacing down there, but for Instagram it'll work. And then resize it to 1080 on the short end. That way Instagram doesn't destroy it completely. So that sharpened it up quite a bit. That usually does that, and that's okay. All right, there it is. Undo that, save the full res PSD, and we're done. All right, well, that was the first image. Just give you guys a walkthrough of my editing process. Nothing too crazy on there, no HDR, no focus stacking, no compositing. And that's not to say that I don't do those things. I just didn't do them here because I wanted as good of an in-camera shot as I could get. And playing with that, I think I'm moderately happy with this. I don't think it's a portfolio image, but that's okay. That's not why I do photography. I had a great time just going out there and seeing the moonrise anyways, and you know, getting the photographs that I got. So that's what it's all about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If I decide to edit any more of these, you know, from the other compositions or anything, I'll put them up now. And if you guys have any questions about, you know, my methods or anything like that, leave them in the comments below, and you know, I'll definitely answer them. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate it. It's the best thing you can do for my channel. Oh, if you do want the presets that I use, my preset pack, those are in the link down below in the description, so you can check those out. Super huge thanks to all you guys who have already supported me with that. It makes a huge difference for me and my family, and we all really appreciate it. So that's it. I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.